welcoming you all to my presentation. I have completed a dissertation, that is my thesis, on language in a English language teaching program in Institute of Modern Languages, University of Chittagong. The title of the thesis is Obstacles Against Developing Communicative Competence in Spoken English for the Undergraduate Level Students, and this is an exploratory study. Pause. Welcome you all in the presentation part, dissertation, MA in ELT, IML, University of Chittagong. This is a basic research methods and a research project that I'm working on. And the title of the dissertation is Obstacles Against Developing Communicative Competence in Spoken English at the Undergraduate Level, an exploratory study. My supervisor is Honorable Monjul Alam, Associate Professor, Institute of Modern Languages, University of Chittagong, and I submitted. This is me, J.D. Milton. I'm a student of MA in ELT, English Language Teaching. My roll number is this, and IML, University of Chittagong. So why this study? Like, I was inspired by John Schumann. He has done a research on Alberto, who was the least successful learner. He failed to develop the basic syntactic pattern in English. He was the only learner who was incapable of developing sentences. So John Schumann has studied on his barriers, and he tried to find out, he actually discovered 12 vital factors, 8 social factors and 4 psychological factors responsible for his incapacity and unsuccessful learning. And I was also inspired by Professor Jack C. Richards, who in a video talked about linguistic competence and communicative competence. Linguistic competence refers to the developing the skill of language, and communicative competence refers to the ability to use the language in appropriate situation. So Jack C. Richards has talked about 5 vital factors: accuracy, fluency, complexity, appropriacy, and capacity. So at the end of this presentation, I'll just display a video on it. So this is Jack C. Richards and this is John Schumann. So communicative competence, if anybody asks a language learner what is the goal of language course, definitely they will respond in saying that learning grammar, vocabulary is the part of that. And when they will be asked what is their goal from a language course, they will definitely talk about developing effective communication. So what means is that earlier it was grammar, vocabulary, but nowadays it is changing and shifting definitely to the linguistic competence, to the communicative competence. And Dale Hymes in 1966 was the one who coined the term communicative competence, referring to the language uses. When a normal child acquires any language, he does not focus on grammar. Rather, he tries to be able to find out when to speak, whom to speak, when to speak, where to speak. In short term, he develops a kind of repertoire of speech acts. So Cannell and Swine has talked about 4 strengths of communicative competence. Number 1 was linguistic competence. Number 2 is sociolinguistic competence. Number 3 is discourse competence, and the number 4 is strategic competence. So linguistic competence refers to word phonetics, that is sound and sentences, and sociolinguistic competence refers to the ability to develop and apply the language in social situation, and discourse competence refers to the ability to produce messages for the conversation with the partners, and strategic competence refers to the ability to accomplish conversation, comprehension, and production, and the strategies to repair. So according to Dale Hymes, one strength cannot be separated from the other. They are related to each other in the target culture. And my background research, there I have found that Mahabud and Debnath, they referred that in Bangladesh, most of the school leaving and college level examinations from the rural areas, most of the students fail in English. On the other hand, in reality, reading, writing, and grammar skills were in practice. On the other hand, whereas listening and speaking skills are usually avoided. So that is one of the main reasons for the failure of developing communicative competence. And my research questions were, why do most of the learners fail to develop speaking proficiency in English language? Is it the poor background that they come with? What makes academic education less helpful to develop cognitive competence in English at ESL or EFL classroom? Is it the curriculum that they follow? How do socio-cultural and psychological factors seem responsible for causing failure in developing cognitive competence in English as a second language, as are social limitations, mental problems, or religious problems, or cultural gaps responsible? So these were my research area. So in order to discuss about this, I have gone through some barriers to develop cognitive competence. Brown and Yale talked about incomplete sentences, very little subordination, little use of explicit logical connectors, use of generalized vocabulary, and many more. On the other hand, Jack C. Richards and Rogers in 2001 mentioned 4 vital factors: excessive use of mother tongue, poor proficiency, anxiety, lack of motivation and confidence, family background, that is learning innovation takes place there, improper listening skill, lack of proper vocabulary. So these are the vital factors for the barriers. Next, Pattison in 1987 mentioned the learners lacking the transfer skills. As a result, they fail. Sui in 1996 talked about a very important factor. Most of the students are reluctant speaker. It means that there are 5 reasons he mentioned. They consider themselves very much weak in English. They are afraid of making mistake. Teacher do not allow silence. Turn taking is uneven. Good students speak much, and less advanced students speak less. And the instructions given by the teacher is also incomprehensible for the students. And economic changes, social changes, and pedagogical changes are also responsible for the failure to develop. And barriers to develop communication. Cinco talked about lack of support and insufficient financing, lack of cooperation among academic personnel in the same or another school. And Lai mentioned about very important factors, shortage of time and change process. So CLT, Cognitive Language Teaching, appeared in 1970 in England, later on in Bangladesh, 1996, which focuses on the ability to use language in a social context. So developing discourse competence, that is communicative competence, is the main factor. Savignan proposes that a classroom model for communicative competence should include 4 components and maintains that they are interrelated. So it is like stringing bits of a necklace that I already mentioned about 4 components. So that according to a PhD scholar Moriam Farhad, he mentioned CLT as a generic approach, and where role play, interview, information gap activity, language exchanges, survey, pair work were in function, and teachers play the role of facilitator. He becomes a silent learner and a listener. Actually, he just facilitate the students so that they can speak, and the syllabus is notional and functional syllabus. It depends on the language use. And in the context of Bangladesh, CLT in both public and private sector, according to Hamid and Boldov, Hassan and Imam, they mentioned that grammar translation method and actually mixed method is applied in case of teaching CLT. On the other hand, aiming to develop learners' cognitive competence in English was the target in CLT, but although it was everybody expected that the CLT is going to revitalize the weak learners' proficiency in English, but still it is far from satisfaction, and the result of it is a considerable debate. So my research methodology was I focused on mixed method, focusing qualitative and quantitative methods. I collected sample from both the teachers and students, close-ended questionnaires and open-ended questionnaires, along with recorded interviews. I had 5 teachers and 20 students as participants. Data collection procedure, I have collected primary data collected from the teachers and students, and tools were questions and interview. I have focused on 3 education institutions where I myself worked: Gurudel Government College, Kishorganj, Southern University, Bangladesh, Chittagong, and Coxsbazar Government College, Cox's Bazar. And the 5 teachers were Pankaj Barua, ex-lecturer, Department of English, Southern University; A.K. Mazharul Haq, associate professor, Department of English, Gurudel Government College; Mohammad Tahir Selim, assistant professor, Department of English, International University of Chittagong, International Islamic University of Chittagong; and Mithun Chakraborty, lecturer, Department of English, Coxsbazar Government College; and Hasna Hurayan Chaudhary, guest lecturer and lecturer in the Department of English, Commerce College, Cox's Bazar. So when I was asking the students about in the questionnaire, and I asked what is the percentage of speaking lessons in the English course, Among 20 students, 40% responded that near about 20 to 39% speaking classes were provided to them. Only 20% responded that 0 to 19%, and 0% student opined in favor of 80 to 100%. And how much the teachers ask or answer questions in the class? Near about 85% students said that not much, not sure, hardly. And this is really interesting finding for me. And how comfortable the students are in case of speaking English in general. In case of this, it is found that near about 75% students are not very comfortable while they are speaking in English. So the students were asked what is their most preferable skill in English. 40% student responded that speaking is their favorite. On the other hand, listening 10%, writing 20%, and reading 20%, and none 10%. So it means speaking is most preferable. And when I have gone to teachers close-ended questions, I asked them what is the performance level of the students. 40% teachers ticked on neither good nor bad. 40% teachers ticked on very poor. It means 80 close to 60% teachers believe that the performance of the teachers is performance of the students is very low. On the other hand, another question was asked, what is the availability of time in speaking? 60% teachers express their opinion in favor of very short, and 40% teachers express their opinion in less time. No teacher expressed their opinion in favor of much or little bit. So when I asked this, I talked about what is the main area of difficulty while speaking in English with the students. The teachers said that 40% students face difficulty in accuracy, and exactly equally fluency, pronunciation, and vocabulary problems were there 20%. So the main area of difficulty is accuracy. So the limitation of this study is that students have performed better outside classroom. Teachers simply gave their opinion and were reluctant to respond slowly. The study has periods of breakdowns. Teachers or students from public universities may provide different results. Only 20 students and 5 teachers were involved, although it requires more participants to complete the study successfully. Another set of teachers or students might give different results. This is the limitation of this study, and the strength of this study is that 3 different education institutions have been chosen from different parts of Bangladesh, and the researcher have had administrative support. That is, I have some administrative support since I have worked there. Students have been the real trainees of the researcher, so the students were real. The teachers were actually working with the researcher in the field of English language. So the teachers who were chosen for this study, they were the real researcher, and they are involved in English language study and research. And the study has been conducted in a long-term session under the guidance of the supervisor, and the findings were verified and based on real first-hand experience. The summary of the findings is that the students feel shy while they are speaking in English. The teachers are not well trained. They do not speak English even in the classroom. Faulty curriculum is one of the factors. Lack of practice confidence in the tertiary levels, as teachers do not speak, and social, financial, academic, cultural limitations were there. So finally, obstacles against developing cognitive competence. I have focused on 4 areas. Academic, no scope to practice, authority do not allow, teachers are not well trained. Personal, students feel shy or afraid while speaking. Influence of local accent of mother tongue leads to pronunciation failure. And social, limited lack of comfort, rather stress is found, and absence of social support or friendly environment for practice. Last thing is psychological, lack of motivation, confidence, and positive attitude. On the other hand, interest, that is, most of the speakers are reluctant speakers. Interest of these speakers in English, speaking in English, is also very much unavailable. So the final thing, results of speaking test. I have conducted speaking test. There I have discussed about. Before that, I want to show you a video.
How are you? I'm fine, sir. What's your name? I'm Abhay Mustafa. How many members do you have in your family? So we have 5 members in my family. Who are they? They are my elder sister, me, my younger sister, my father, and my mother. Among all the members, whom do you like most? Obviously, it's my mother. Why? Because I remember a story. Before 15 years ago, I felt or suffered stomachache, severe stomachache, and my father wasn't my home.
Now I'm coming to the results of speaking test. As you have seen in the video, I have conducted real research on speaking test. I have found out these problems and limitations. Pauses and repetition of the same sentences, influence of local accent of mother tongue, limitation with clear pronunciation of words, low voice while speaking, extra linguistic features like nervousness, lack of confidence, slip of tongue, stress, etc. work, listening and understanding limitations, inability to apply creative sentences in English. When I asked them to answer descriptive questions, they were unable to produce many sentences. Last thing is fragments or very short responses are frequently visible. Before I finish my presentation, I would like to show you my favorite, Professor Jack C. Richards. What did he say about cognitive competence? So watch this video.
Hello again. Today I'd like to say a little bit more about communicative competence and what communicative competence in a foreign language entails. I'd like to identify 5 strands of communicative competence that are important in teaching and that will help, I think, help you understand what the differences are between a basic, intermediate, and advanced level speaker. These are accuracy, fluency, complexity, appropriacy, and capacity. Now, let's look at each of.
So that's it from my presentation part. I was quite quick because there is a shortage of time and there is a restriction. I hope you have understood something from my research, and I'm very happy that I have completed my research, and there is a further study is required for the development of this study, and I wish you all the just wish me luck. Thank you very much for listening to me by spending your valuable time.